Hello everyone, so let's take a look at what Bitcoin has been up to and let's analyze these markets and see what the next plays might be. So before we do any of that, just to let you guys know, we've got Bootcamp coming up last Sunday of this month. That's pretty soon actually, so let's take a quick look. That'll be on the 26th. So on the the 26th. So on the 26th of May, we've got Bootcamp, which is a Zoom session whereby we go through liquidity, market structure, price action. We go through order flow. We go through all the fundamentals of trading to understand, how to improve as a trader. It's kind of it's pitched at beginners level, beginner/intermediate. So if you are navigating the markets and you're finding it that little bit confusing, if you're finding it a little bit daunting, and you're constantly losing trades, you're not quite sure where to put your stop loss, you're not quite sure what's going on, this is the place to be. So yeah, if you do want to get more information on that, let me know. Hit me up on Discord, or you can simply go on the website and book your seat. That takes place on Zoom. Also, we've got our Discord community, and in Discord, this is where I kind of have my ongoing day-to-day discussions, and we have obviously our profit wall where we post profits, and we just sort of like see the trades we've been into. Haven't been in a trade in a while. I'm not currently in a trade, and of course we've got our testimonials here as well. So these are some of the guys that obviously were in Bootcamp last session. All right, so let's take a look at Bitcoin. Well, judging from where we were yesterday, we gave an overview of what the market's doing. We gave an overview of the global market structure. We zoomed into the daily, zoomed into the weekly, and we did say, well, in terms of Bitcoin, we are in this range at the moment, and not much has happened. Not much has happened. We had our range high, we had our range low, and we are heading towards this 18-hour supply for potential reaction. We were considering a continuation bounce off of this daily zone at 67,837 with a proximal line and a distal line at 65,950. So we were hoping for a reaction, something like that to take us up there. But it seems as though we may not be getting that. We may simply do a tiny mitigation, creating this fair value gap as a result, okay, before we tag that level. But that's fine, that's completely fine. So we're waiting to look at a short from the range high, and in the case we break out from the range, we're looking to get a continuation from a pullback to zone. So if you want more information about that, watch the video yesterday, so that you can gain better understanding of what could potentially happen in the next few days. As far as Bitcoin goes, let's say it continues on this trajectory, we will be looking to put that high, if we are heading towards the high, at around Tuesday, the 28th of May. So Tuesday, perhaps around Tuesday. All right. So Monday, Tuesday might be really interesting for us next week. All right, for that rotation, if that's exactly what we get. So don't forget to set your alarms. But here we are. Bitcoin is in this range, and there's not much going on here. It's just been oscillating in this range for a while. All right. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the crypto market in general, talk about the bull run in general, and see potentially what the market holds. So this is Bitcoin's price action historically. We've had bull cycles, we've had bear cycles, and now it looks like we're heading towards another rally up, another bull cycle. Now, what are the targets of this bull cycle? Lots of traders are probably thinking, as soon as we break out of this range convincingly, YouTube's going to absolutely explode, especially if we get past the $80,000 mark, or if we rally higher. So what could potentially be the targets? What are the technical targets of this bull cycle? Well, this is something we can actually look to analyze. This is something we can look to predict. Is it going to be 100% accurate? Probably not. Is it going to be a good ballpark as to where to set your TPs? Perhaps. So let's judge it based on the recent Bitcoin halving that took place in April. All right. So first of all, what is the Bitcoin halving and what's that all about? Well, here we go. So Bitcoin halving is basically an event that's programmed, into the Bitcoin's protocol, whereby approximately every 4 years there's a reduction in supply. Okay, and this leads to Bitcoin being more scarce. All right. And as a result of this halving, what usually happens, I'm not going to read all of this, but you can pause the video and have a read if you want. What usually happens is, you have an increase or surge in price and it rallies, okay? And it rallies up. And why does it rally up? Okay, well, if we've got a shortage in supply, okay, this often triggers an increase in demand. And what we know from basic economics is, well, supply and demand, they're very intimately linked. How are they linked? Well, let's say this is our price, this is our quantity, okay, so price and quantity. So let's call this Q for quantity, let's call this P for price. We know that our supply curve slopes up. Okay, that's our supply curve. We also know that our demand curve slopes down. Okay, this is basic fundamental economics. This is our demand curve. Now, in the case we have an increase in supply, all right, or an increase in demand, or decrease in supply and decrease in demand, this affects the price and it affects consumer and producer behavior. So let's see what happens due to an increase in demand. Well, if there's an increase in demand, guess what happens? Well, your demand curve shifts. It goes from here and it shifts up there, like that. Okay? So your demand curve shifts. Basic economics. I think we learnt this when I was about probably 16, 17. Okay? And what does that do to price? Well, initially price was here. Your quantity was here, Q1, and your price was here. I say P1. Due to this increase in demand, what happens? The price goes up. This was your prior fair price for Bitcoin. This will be your new fair price of Bitcoin due to the increase in supply, being P2. So what happened here? Your price went up. And that's basically what we hope to see, and basically what we've observed in this bull market, in the previous bull market, and all the bull markets that will come. All right, so why am I talking about this? Well, let's see. Can we predict where this bull cycle might, end, the price of this bull cycle? So what we have here is a diagram or schematic of the previous dates of historic Bitcoin halvings. So I didn't actually put the first one in there because I couldn't fit it in. But here we've got the second halving at around perhaps July 2016. So what happened after we had that halving event? Well, we had a drop in price momentarily, and then we had this monster, ginormous rally up. And this rally, if we measure the rally from this low to this high, probably more, but we have around a 3,000% increase in price. A 3,000%, and this is a conservative estimate. This is not the exact estimate, but a conservative estimate, which means it probably is higher, if you want to be exact. And so we had that, and then we had obviously the top of our bull cycle at around, December, and then we rallied down. We rallied down into this bear market, which took us to around, February 2019. And then it was this struggle up. We started going up. And before we halved, we broke down again. And then there was a third halving took place in May 2020. May 2020, that was the year of COVID as well. All right. Okay, so as of May 2020, that third halving took place. And then what happened shortly after that? Boom, we had a tiny retracement, and then boom, we have that rally up. And this rally up was around about 1,000% increase in price. 1,000% increase. And this is where we are now. So this was the top of our bull market. We can see those spikes as we talked about, nice SFP of the high. and then we rally down, we change market structure bearish, then we flip market structure again bullishly. Now what we see here is the bottom of the perceived bear market here, which is around November to January 2023. And now what we've approached and what we've seen here in April is the fourth halving. All right. Now my thinking is, well, the first halving was a 3,000% increase. The second was perhaps a 1,000% increase in price. Now, what if the third is just half of that? What if the third is half of 1,000% increase in price? Well, that will take us to a good estimate. If we were just to increase that by perhaps 500%, all right, 500%, that's taken us to about a $400,000 Bitcoin. And I know some people are listening to that figure thinking, what is this guy talking about? A 400k Bitcoin. This is a conservative estimate based on just historic Bitcoin halvings. Now, lots of people saying this time is different, and that could be the case, yes. All right. But also bearing in mind, this could also be higher. What's to say we don't get another 1,000% increase? All right. And that takes us to about $800,000 Bitcoin, which is crazy to think. All right. But, that's just what the historic data is saying. All right. So obviously we're going to trade these markets step by step. We're going to scalp the 15-minute time frame, the 5-minute time frame, and we're going to profit. We're not necessarily scalping based on, these huge monthly time frames, but it's good to keep this in mind, especially if you're a spot trader. Now, if you're a spot trader that, you don't like to deal with the ups and downs of day trading or scalping or swing trading, or you like to just put a nice position there, maybe put 1, 2, 3x leverage and let it ride for the bull cycle. Well, if that's your approach, well, perhaps this information is something you will benefit from, because a lot of people are thinking, well, is it too late? Is it too late to enter the market? Is it too late to buy Bitcoin? Well, based on this analysis, it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. Now, whether we're going to get a retracement before we rally up, only time will tell. But in terms of the global perspective, based on Bitcoin halving and its historical data, there is still a lot of upside to come, assuming this is the bull market. Assuming, this is the decisional rally that takes us up. Okay, and we're not going to know that until we break convincingly around above $80,000. First of all, we have to break past this range. And after we break past that range, as we talked about yesterday, we need to set that, retracement, that pullback into zone, and then continue up. All right. So that's it. That's it for Bitcoin halving. And that's just a little inside take or scoop as to what could potentially be to come. Now, imagine what's going to happen to the altcoins. Imagine what's going to happen to the altcoins with a 400k Bitcoin. All right. So this is where you have to start thinking, well, if you've got a bag, if you've got a stack sitting down, is this a decent time to stack your alts? Is it a time to say, actually, do you know what? Playing it week by week, playing it by day, it's a bit stressful. You're waking up, I remember back in the day, waking up, opening your Coinbase app, opening your Binance app, opening your Bybit app, refreshing that every day in bed. Is a bit stressful. So maybe this is where you say, do you know what? I'm glad I saw this video, and as a result of this, I'm gonna, put some positions on, and I'm gonna just let it ride. Okay, I'm not gonna look to get a 30% increase, sell, move it to another coin, get a 50% increase, sell, move it to another coin, and then get an 80% decrease. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna, select a few coins, and I'm going to hold it. All right. So I'm always holding alts, always holding Bitcoin, and I'm consistently adding to that stack week by week, month by month. All right. So anyways, that's it. That's it for today. Just a global scope about what could be in play in the next few years. All right, but in the short term, we're looking at this range, aren't we? We're looking to see what Bitcoin does. We're going to be patient. We're not going to rush into a trade. In terms of market cipher, we've had this money flow in black for a very long time, which means lots of money has come into the asset for quite some while. So we're just going to wait. We're going to wait and see what the price action does. Now, when you trade like this, it stops you from entering lots and lots of bad trades. It really does. When you wait for your confirmation, it stops you from entering lots of bad trades. It does. So I believe this is the best way to trade. Wait for your confirmations before you enter your trade. Otherwise, you're kind of gambling. All right. So that's it. Now I can see here we are developing a nice range though, aren't we? For those of you watching this range, we are developing a nice range here. Okay. So is it a possibility? It doesn't look very likely, but is it a possibility that based on this range, this is not an idea I've spoken about in the past, but it's something I've just seen. Is it a possibility that based on this structure, we have a low, we have a high, we have, well, this is kind of a wick, but I'm going to take this as one flush. Theoretically, I shouldn't because this traded lower than that. I'm going to take this as one flush, a low. All right. And then we have a high. Perhaps this is where we're headed. But we don't just have a normal high. We have a high that sweeps. It doesn't sweep the all-time high, but it sweeps this internal high. And not only does it sweep this internal high, this is not perfect. This is a bit longer. It's not perfect, but what if we range here, but we range higher? We range higher here, okay? And then we SFP that zone, so we sweep that liquidity, giving us the juice to rotate all the way down here. Yeah. And not only do we do that, but whilst we're doing that, we take the juice from this 18-hour supply. Is that a possibility? So we would have something that looks like this. We'll have a bar, a trend bar, and we'll make this a bear bar. And then we have a wick that simply takes the juice from that supply and allows us to rally down. Is that a possibility? Of course, that's a possibility. So that's something I'm going to be watching out for. But for that to have taken place, I would have liked this range to be a little bit higher, because if this is the range high, this internal range high, if we are to sweep this internal range high while sweeping that global range high, whilst taking that supply, that means this is going to have to be a long wick. This is going to have to be one long wick for all those things to be fulfilled. However, because this is a range, there is the possibility that we come up here, all right, but we kind of manipulate here and then rally down. There is that possibility, all right? But this is just a far-fetched idea, but it's definitely one to look out for. Now, at the moment, I'm just waiting for my next trades patiently. And when I see something clear, I'm going to let you guys know. Otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow.